Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everything You Need to Know to Reduce the Sugar in Your Diet. I'm Stacy Portugal, and I'm a board certified life coach, and I'll be your host for this video series. In the next 5 days, you'll be receiving 5 videos that are short and sweet, but full of actionable insights so you can begin from day one to gain the clarity and steps you need to lose weight and improve your health. So let's begin. There's a difference between knowing and doing. I'm sure there'll be times during the next 5 days that you're going to say to yourself, I know this already. But the truth is, we all have great ideas and logical answers to reduce the sugar in our diets. But taking the necessary actions consistently is where the challenge comes in for many. So let's begin this first video with what I like to call a meeting of the minds. Everyone has desires and goals. These desires and goals lay in the forefront of your mind, known commonly as your conscious. Your conscious thoughts might consist of the desire to lose weight or to regain your health. Perhaps you're concerned about high glucose, excess weight, low energy, or you just want to age healthfully and gracefully. And you know that excess sugar consumption is affecting your life. While you consciously know all these things and have the desire to cut back on sweets, you find that time and time again when you're faced with temptation, you dive in seemingly without any thought. Your wishes and desires to improve your diet go right out the window. You know you need to get this under control, but you can't seem to follow through on your plans. Here's a great analogy. You love this particular road in your hometown. It's open highway, and when you drive it, the wind is blowing in your hair, and the sight of trees is magnificent. Sometimes you're a little too enthusiastic about the highway, and you drive a little faster than you should. And then one day it happens. You get stopped by the police and you get a ticket. The next time you drove on that same road, your conscious is like, yes, love this open highway. Let's kick it up, but don't get a ticket. And then your unconscious clearly remembers the pain of that $100 ticket. And that alone slows you down. You don't want to get a ticket again, so your intention to follow the law is perfect. You can do it with ease. There's no conflict. Plus, eventually, you may even find a way to enjoy that beautiful highway without having to break the law. This is a great example of when a meeting of the minds is a necessary first step to changing your behavior so that you can actually follow through on your desires. Since knowing and doing are two separate things, let's begin by defining where these two things take place. The knowing takes place in your unconscious mind. As I mentioned earlier, your goals and logical thoughts are right there in front of your consciousness. But in the back of your mind, commonly known as your unconscious, there's a conflict. Your unconscious mind only knows emotions, feelings that are derived from a lifetime of experience. In the back of your mind, your unconscious, you remember the positive feelings associated with sugary sweets. The taste, the texture, the traditions, the ease of consumption. Your unconscious isn't recognizing the consequences and the dangers of excess sugar. It's not even recognizing your knowledge of all this and your desire to cut back. In fact, it's more common to be able to follow through on a plan after a crisis has occurred. Sort of like getting the ticket after the heart attack, the type 2 diabetes, the dementia, or the cancer diagnosis. And that makes a lot of sense because those negative feelings, that trauma associated, is now ingrained in your unconsciousness. It's fresh and it's painful, And it's a reminder of the fact that your diet does matter. So following your intention will become a whole lot easier. But we don't want to wait for a trauma to occur. We want to gain hold of this immediately before something happens. The point of this video series is to help you gain control of your diet right now. So this is really where we need to have a meeting of the mind so that your conscious and your unconscious thoughts are in alignment and your daily actions actually contribute to your overall goal. Your unconscious mind isn't logical. It simply consists of feelings that create desires that lead to the actions that you take. How do we create a meeting of the minds so that our conscious and our unconscious lead to the actions we desire? So that we're able to pass up temptation easily by letting go of that auto feed mechanism that seems to take over when we're faced with temptation. We need to convince our unconscious of the negative feelings and consequences associated with a high sugar diet. Here are some stats and facts that might help your unconscious mind get the message and assist you with the daily behaviors you need for a true change of diet. Sugar is calorie dense, nutrient poor, and has no satiety factor. Have you ever noticed that you can down a bag of cookies and not feel full? In fact, you're likely to keep going until your stomach is about to burst, but you don't seem to get that same satiety, like that satiety in your mind, as you do when you're eating a well-balanced meal. It's easy to overeat and gain weight. In fact, sugar is thought to be the main culprit in our U.S. obesity crisis. One of the reasons we can't stay away from sugar or carby sweets is because it has an opioid effect in the brain. It literally has the same effect as if you were taking drugs. This is the feeling that your brain remembers in its unconsciousness, and it's why we automatically give in. It's no different than if you were addicted to drugs or alcohol, with one major exception. We cannot live without food, but we can live without drugs or alcohol. Sugary, carby, processed foods are ubiquitous in our culture. They're available in most everything we eat, including our condiments. And we see temptation literally around every corner. Did you know that type 2 diabetes worldwide has doubled in the last 30 years? Diabetes is an insidious disease with serious consequences. In fact, I have a cousin that passed away from complications from type 2 diabetes. Diabetes can cause or has been associated with serious damage to your eyes, your kidneys, your nerves, and it increases your risk of heart attack and stroke. It's very clear that excess dietary sugar consumption will make you vulnerable to this disease. Here in America, we're getting sicker and sicker, and this includes our children. Type 2 diabetes is now prevalent in children as their obesity levels continue to rise, and research is now predicting a shorter life expectancy for our kids. Can you imagine that? Outliving your kids simply because they follow the standard American diet? But sugar has consequences even beyond type 2 diabetes. There's loads of evidence that a high-carb diet is associated with inflammation, high triglycerides, high blood pressure, and heart disease. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death worldwide, and it's harder to detect the symptoms of a heart attack in women, which puts us at a greater risk. A study of over 30,000 people found that those who consumed just 17 to 21% of their calories from sugar had a 38% greater risk of dying from heart disease. That's double the risk of your actual consumption. Just one 16-ounce can of soda equals 52 grams of sugar. That alone is 10% of your daily calorie consumption. It adds up pretty quickly. There's also emerging evidence that our high sugar diets are leading to a cancer diagnosis. High sugar consumption can lead to acne and accelerated aging of your skin. Oops. Sorry about that. So it can lead to accelerated aging of your skin because it also messes with your hormones. So if you're a woman 40 and beyond in the menopausal years, you don't want to add to the challenge of changing and unbalanced hormones. Plus, let's face it, we're all going to get wrinkled, but why rush it? Let's talk about inflammation and how that might be affecting you. Aches and pains, difficulty playing with our kids and our grandkids, or even tying your shoes. Inflammation can also lead to autoimmune diseases such as arthritis and can lead to damaged tissues and organs, and that can change your DNA and lead to cancer. A high sugar diet is also linked to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. When there's more sugar than your liver can process, it turns to fat in your liver. This can lead to long-term damage and serious consequences. I could go on and on about the risks of excess sugar in your diet, but I promised you short videos with actionable steps for you to make progress each and every day in creating a meeting of the mind. So I suggest you click on the links in the email, and if you want to learn more about the risks of a hard carb diet. Learning is one way to create a meeting of the minds. Now let's speak to your unconscious mind another way by exploring how much too much sugar can actually make us feel. A high sugar diet has been associated with depression. Do you wake up each day mad at yourself about what you ate the day before? Do you lack confidence and feel uncomfortable in your own skin? Are you not able to find the joy in your life? Do the things you used to do for pleasure? How do you feel when you're invited to a party and you need to decide what to wear? Do you feel excited about talking to friends or meeting new people? Or does the cloud of dis-ease or excess weight hang over your head? How does your struggle actually feel to you? How does it actually affect your life? We need to convince our unconsciousness that you don't feel your best when consuming a high sugar diet, that those memories of your mom's apple pie are not because of the sugary pie, that it's due to great family memories and traditions, and maybe delicious food helps, but there are many delicious foods that are healthy, and I'm prepared to prove this to you as this series continues. So for today's action step, please spend some time thinking about two simple questions. How has your current diet affected your life? Keep drilling it down here until you really reach some emotions. And what are your most challenging situations? I suggest writing in a notebook that you'll be using for the next 5 days or so. Tomorrow, we'll be discussing what's really keeping you stuck and how to change it. So be sure to tune in or save these videos in the order that they're presented. That's it for today, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next video.